what's up? One show was not enough for me because the NFL draft starts tomorrow. Favorite betting event of the entire year. Had to bring Jason back on. He's live, I believe, from Circa. How's it going?
I was in Circa earlier. I'm back at Aria now. Had to go deposit some cash over there, get some last minute NFL draft bets in. But yeah, I am in Vegas for about 20 hours, fly back home for the draft, and yeah, let's make some money.
It truly doesn't get more degen than that, but also like you live close enough where it's just a little flight. It's no big deal, right?
40 minutes. It's nothing.
Okay.
As long as the wife's very nice. She let me get away for the day. So props to her. And hopefully she'll be getting a nice dinner this weekend.
Yeah, this time last year we were together for the draft. I did start rewatching it, and I'm just going to be honest, not to toot our own horns, but we did very well. I want to be completely honest. And I didn't get to clip it yet. Have to show you. You called last year that Zach Wilson would get traded for a 6th-round pick, and I was cracking up when you said it because we were all like, "What?" And then it ended up happening.
Yeah, I want to go back and see that one. I'm glad that it happened almost a year later. To the day. Yeah. Very exciting. I should go back and watch that because there were some electric moments on that show.
Oh yeah, it's a long one. You have to take breaks because like the intoxication level starts like not going down, going very much up. Yeah, very funny. Before we get into, we're gonna do an NFL draft, a NFL draft prop draft, drafting the draft props, plus 300 odds or longer, 5 picks each. Before we get into that, any news today that you feel like we need to discuss?
Anything that's really important? No, I don't really think that it's been all that meaningful today.
Yeah.
Jay Glazer was on a show in LA and said that the Drake May to the Patriots seems like it's good. Albert Breer said the same thing. So I think that the pivot point that we thought was going to be the Patriots at 3, assuming that it was Daniels at 2, is a little less interesting now, unless what Adam Schefter said on Rich Eisen, which was, okay, the Patriots are cool drafting May at 3, but what happens when you're actually on the clock? Like, are the Giants or the Vikings willing to pony up so much that the Patriots can't say no? And are the Patriots in a situation where they feel the same about J.J. McCarthy and can use those pieces to get back up to 5 or 6 or 8 or whatever to get McCarthy? My view generally is you don't really fuck around with quarterbacks like that. Like, it's okay for Monty to do it last year when you're talking about moving out and then getting an offensive lineman. It's a whole different deal when you're talking about quarterbacks. Usually, if you like your guy and you're picking there, you stick there. So I guess to be chalky, I think the 1 through 3 is close to set. I'll walk that back and bet the other side like that tomorrow if I get other new information, but it seems like that's the kind of how we're trending right now.
Yeah, it really doesn't take much for me to like switch or add something. Like even from the time we did the show, I've already added so many bets, even from last night. Last thing I'll ask you before we jump into this, do you think there's any chance that if JJ were to fall past the Giants, that the Broncos try to get their name at the table to try to move up? Because I think that's kind of a sneaky potential brewing.
I think the Broncos are trying everything that they can right now to get up for JJ in any scenario. To me, like, I'm going to do a little Windhorse thing here. To me, the only way that Arizona trades out of 4 is if Drake May is on the board, because the Giants and the Vikings will pony up whatever if he gets past the Patriots. So I don't think that JJ at 4 is necessarily an option. JJ at 5 makes a lot of sense, but you have Harbaugh in control of that situation. Harbaugh's going to want to put his boy in a good spot and not in the division with him. So it eliminates the Raiders and eliminates the Broncos. Now, in theory, they want to feel like in order to get the most out of the Vikings in that situation, you want to keep Denver close, but I don't think that Harbaugh would actually do that. So let's say that he slips past 5, past 6. Maybe at 6, there's some sort of deal if the Giants want to trade back, although I feel like they're going to want the wide receiver there. 7, 8 is definitely a trade out and somewhere that Denver could probably get pretty easily. So it would have to work out that way, I think, for Denver to get up to JJ.
Yeah. I think that the beginning of the draft, I was just saying this, so sorry if you're watching the show for the second time. I think that there's a chance where it's a little bit more boring and chalky than everyone would like to happen.
There's certainly a chance that the first 4 picks are exactly how we would have predicted it in like February, where it's Caleb, Jaden, Drake, Marvin, and then we figure it out. And maybe even the Chargers just say fuck it, and they draft either wide receiver 2 or Joe Alt, which I guess wouldn't be surprising. It's kind of how we had it, back in February also. I don't think it's necessarily going to play out like that. I think we'll see at least one trade in the top 5. But yeah, I think it'll be maybe a little bit more chalky than the crazy scenarios that are out there.
I am with you. All right, let's get into this draft. I will crack a beer. That will be us starting the 2024 NFL draft prop. Why is that such a mouthful? We are drafting props with 300 odds or longer. We're going to go back and forth, 5 picks each. I will let you kick it off because you are the guest on the show.
All right. I'm going to bring up my little sheet here. And the first one I'm going to do is I've bet this a bazillion times, and I'm going to keep doing it. Rome Odunze at pick number 8. I think it makes sense for a ton of teams to try and trade into that 8 spot to try and beat out Chicago. To Rome, under 8.5, I also love as a sidebar. But at the 8th pick, he is at plus 650 at BetMGM right now.
I have to tell you something that I bet last night. I have a new theory, which is never a good thing. I'm like big braining it and coming up with other scenarios for what the Giants could do. And I did bet Rome to go to the New York Giants.
Yeah, no, I think there's a really good chance, and there's a lot of smoke behind that idea that Rome would go above Malik Neighbors, or even MHJ goes 4, Neighbors goes 5, and Odunze goes 6. I could see that scenario as well. So I'm not ruling out the possibility. I've bet Rome at plus 325 to go to New York 6. I'll get to the other one that I have on him, but I think he goes somewhere in that 6 to 8 range.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think any of these guys are falling too far. I think I'm going to stick with my my pick from last night, and I'm going to take Rome Odunze to be drafted by the Giants at plus 300.
All right.
I think that might be the big crazy thing that everyone's expecting the Giants to do. It's not going to end up being as crazy as everyone imagined.
Fair enough. I like that.
You've got Rome at 8.
I have Rome at 8. I could see him going 7.
Okay.
But my other pick that I'm going to make right now, we're going to go. I mean, I'm going to give out multiple here. I'm just going to say this, and then I'll save some other fun ones for the end. Okay. I've bet Rome to go 8th, Neighbors to go 8th, and then I've bet them both to go 7th. I think there's a good chance that the Titans would stick and pick there and draft a wide receiver, or that they would trade out with the Jets and still get their offensive lineman of choice at 10. So I'm just going to give out 4 for 2 there that I've bet on those 2 wide receivers to go 7th and 8th.
Is doing its thing. Did you just I might have just lagged there for everyone that is on. Where do I want to go with this one here? I actually see Ramsaholic took one of the ones I was holding on to back here is Rams to take a wide receiver at plus 700. There's a team. I'm going to troll a little bit here because I can, and it's 11-1, so I can do whatever I want. Where is that? There's a combo for both these teams. I'll have to find the number for everyone. I don't know where it is. The Dallas Cowboys to take a wide receiver, 11-1. We have seen Jerry do crazier things than go ahead and take another weapon. So I like the value on that there because it is Jerry Jones.
Wow. I have a Cowboys wide receiver ticket that I bet on April 1st, but I got plus 400. So great odds for you to get 11-1. Yeah. That's nuts.
And I'm sure they'll be gone by the time the next person goes to look at it.
So speaking of Rams wide receiver plus 700, I'll go on the board. I bet that this morning also. here
Did you?
at MGM, Rams wide receiver, but I'm going to give out a better one.
Okay.
15-1 Rams draft tight end, trade up to 12 for Bowers.
Ooh. 12-1, huh?
I really like that call. It gives the Broncos exactly what they need. They don't move down too far. 12-19, you can still get a lot of defenders that you'd still be looking at in the same range. And you beat the Colts to Bowers, and Bowers on that team. Like, the problem with drafting wide receiver there is, like, how much are they going to be used with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua? They don't run that many three wide receiver sets. Bowers opens up so much of the offense for them.
Yeah,
I think he'd be a great fit there.
I think so too. I feel like the Rams could just be very boring and take O-line here. And that's sitting at plus 105. I bet that earlier today. Are you against them taking O-line?
No, I mean, it's the favorite for a reason after what Schrager said what he said. But I guess where I'm at with the Rams offensive line is they just spent so much money in free agency on the
Yeah.
offensive line that I'm not sure that you need to double down in that position. I think that they're comfortable with their offensive line. And instead, I think that they want to just get Stafford as many playmakers as he can who are going to be valuable during his time. Like, if they bring in an offensive lineman, there's no guarantee that they're going to play this season. I see them going in a different direction if they're going to go on offense, which I assume they're going to do at this point.
Yeah, I like that, honestly, quite a bit. I kind of teased this on one of the other shows. This one I want to talk out. So unfortunately, you're going to help me with it. Knicks. If he doesn't go to the Broncos, there are some interesting numbers sitting there. Vikings is plus 600. Raiders is plus 700. Rams are actually up there at plus 700. And the New York Giants are plus 700. Do any of those interest you?
From what I have heard is that the Vikings and the Rams have done the most digging on Knicks other than the Broncos. So it does not surprise to see me there. Giants make sense given the fact that if they pass on one in round one, round two could be very plausible for them to go and get one. I've also heard the rumor that the Giants don't want to play Daniel Jones this year because they want the contract off the books. So they would just sit him because the injury guarantees, if he gets hurt this year, basically locks him in for the next 2 years. That might be wild fan fiction. I don't know. You're probably better to talk about that than I am.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised to see Knicks there. Those would be. I don't see the Raiders at all. If the Raiders are going to draft someone, it's going to be Penix or Daniels, but that's not going to happen. So
yeah, it's a very gross fit there.
Yeah, it seems like Penix. Also, I've heard Penix connected to the Rams too. So maybe the Rams' second round pick is like a lock to be a quarterback. I don't know.
Yeah, and this is what the Rams' first round pick since they drafted Jared Goff, I think.
Yeah.
Since then have been extremely successful. Here's my thing, and I see Ramsahog also bring it up. Steph would be pissed at if I see one more fucking news thing come out that the Giants are taking Penix at 6, I'm gonna blow my brains out. I swear to God. Like, I just cannot take it. You cannot replace a quarterback with injuries with another old quarterback with injuries. I'm fine with taking. I like Penix. I just think it doesn't make sense. My thing with the Giants and why I don't think it. I was kind of in on the Knicks thing. I think if they're gonna take a quarterback and it's not in the start of the draft in round 1. I think they're more likely to go like a Spencer Rattler or like someone else, maybe not in the second round, because they still have so many gaping holes. Like, they've got to address the secondary. So I think for some security here, God, Bo Nix is kind of a ram, huh?
Yeah. I don't hate that pick. I just don't know what Denver wants to do with Knicks. If they trade down significantly, I could see them taking him at some point in the later of the first round, but they have no second round pick. So the only way that they get Knicks is either take him at 12 or trade down. A very thin margin there.
I still just don't. I know we talked about this on the show earlier this week. Like, I don't see a world where the Vikings don't trade up. I'm still struggling to see that world. Have you started to see it a little bit more than me? Because I have not.
I have seen it. I think that I get the idea of it from a strategy standpoint, but I don't think it's a realistic way that this draft is going to play out. I guess that's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Rams to take Knicks at plus 700 for my third pick here. What are you looking at now?
All right. The steam on JC Latham is getting out of goddamn
It's out of control.
and
Out
I can't help myself. So I have bet him at number 5 overall at 2,500. First offensive lineman at 12-1, and I bet him to go 7th this morning, which was at 11-1. Yeah, 11-1 at BetMGM. The reason for the 7th one is that let's say there's a scenario where Joe Alt goes 5th. I think that Latham's their offensive lineman number 2. And let's say that they don't go wide receiver in that situation. I think that Latham would be their pick. I kind of want to bet that JC Latham to be a top 10 pick because I think that there's 3 outs: Chargers, Titans, maybe even 4 if the Bears, and then the Jets. So I don't know. The steam on him is ridiculous, but I can't help myself. I'm buying in all the way.
So which one are you picking for your draft prop?
For my draft, let's go with 7th overall at 11-1.
7th, 11-1. I like it. I'm looking right now at what he is to be a top 10 pick plus 150. I actually really like the odds there. I know you don't love it, but I don't even hate Fuaga to go top 10 to the Jets. What do I want to do here? Oh my God. Oh, you must have just said, what'd you say?
Latham top 5. Well, top 5. Oh, no. I didn't bet top 5. I bet him to go 5th overall exactly, plus 2,500.
God, that's very good odds there. Which direction do I want to go? Another pick that people are not going to like. I'm saying it a lot because Joe Alt to be a top 5 pick at plus 350 is very tempting because I know Arizona is taking Marvin Harrison Jr., but like, what if they don't take Marvin Harrison Jr.? Like, what if they don't? Like, is there a world where they're like, oh, we could just take Joe Alt?
The Cardinals at 4? Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's not happening.
I'm not buying it. I tried to sell it. I tried to sell you on it. It didn't work.
I like the sale. No, if they're sticking there, you could convince me that maybe it's Neighbors over MHJ, but I don't think so.
I didn't try very hard, and you were not buying that, literally.
No, I don't think so with Alt at 4. That would be a shocker of all shockers, though.
What about the all the smoke around Murphy right now? Are you buying any of that?
I bought it at better numbers. It's like 16.5. I could see him being 9. I don't think that Atlanta would stick there and pick him 8th because I think they could get a better deal trading out, even if it was just a flip to 10. 9 I could see with the Bears. Like if all the blue chippers, if 4 quarterbacks, 3 wide receivers, and Joe Alt is off the board, it's an interesting spot where they either have to decide, do they want to trade out? Do they want Dallas Turner? They want Murphy? They want Verse? I don't know. They might pick Murphy there.
Okay. All right. This one's going to be crazy, but that's all right. That's the point of this. And we have to have fun because it is NFL draft. The Pittsburgh Steelers. You can find some line help a little bit later in the draft. Wide receiver is plus 400. Cornerback is plus 600. Do either of those at least like make you a little happy or no?
Cornerback, probably not, given the Joey Porter pick last year and how well that worked out. Wide receiver, you could definitely convince me on.
Yeah.
But to me, like in terms of player team, like lock, if Graham Barton's there at 20, the Pittsburgh Steelers are taking him. Like they always forecast their picks ahead of time, and that seems like the lock of all locks if he's there.
I feel like.
But which wide receiver? Which wide receiver would you want there?
I don't know. That room's pretty gross if you think about it. It's Pickens and Calvin fucking Austin, and I don't even know I don't even know who's the third one there. I legitimately don't know. I'm not even trying to be an asshole. I like literally don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I don't know. And for that reason, I'm going to take the Steelers to take a wide receiver at plus 400.
I don't hate it. I mean, if you're gonna take a stab at something, you might as well go there.
And
It's
those
just I
odds
feel
are longer because if you listen to the show, I almost tried to give this out. I have to look back at what it was when I almost took it. I'm pretty sure it was plus 550 when I tried to give it out, but I didn't even click it myself, which I should have.
it's definitely interesting. They definitely need a wide receiver. I just don't know in that front office if they can like they're so used to hitting on these second, third, fourth round wide receivers that they may say to themselves, why do we need to pick a wide receiver in the first, especially in a draft like this where it seems like some of these wide receivers are getting pushed down into the second round. There might be more value and they need an
It's
offensive
also
line.
Arthur Smith, so I guess he doesn't really have a lot of use for them either.
Yeah, they need like I don't even know what they need 4 more running backs.
Yeah.
And Jonnu Smith.
It's gross. What's your next pick here? We're maybe let's do one more after this or 2 more after this. We'll see how we feel.
Okay. So
this is
then
your final of the 4. Oh, 4. So you have 2 more.
All right. I'm just going to throw out a super random one. This is like a half chaos pick. Top 5 exacta. Williams, Daniels, JJ, Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr. plus 1,800.
Say it again.
It would be Williams 1, Daniels 2, McCarthy 3, Drake May 4, Marvin Harrison 5.
I don't hate that. Okay. If you think that happens, which I know it doesn't, you don't really need to know this for your bet. Do you think it's the Chargers taking him or do you think it's someone else taking Marvin?
My guess is that Arizona would do a double trade and move back up to 5.
Okay.
Because the amount of if Drake May is there at 4, the amount of resources that they're going to get for that pick is going to be astronomical. They can call their shots however they want to the rest of the draft, and probably in 2025 also.
I actually really like that bet. I think I'm going to have to place that. 18-1 is crazy.
Yeah, it's not that weird. It's one weird move. It's just they take JJ over May at 3. It's not that weird.
It's true. It's really not. And you can find some really good odds on some of those as well.
Yeah, I think like JJ, what is JJ McCarthy to go 3 right now? Like plus 375. So basically, you're getting a plus 1,800 for plus 375. That's kind of how this nets out.
Is there any way that JJ slips?
What slips? Like gets to 11 where Vikings don't have to trade?
The Vikings aren't going to get that lucky. Everyone knows how I feel about the Vikings drafting. I just that's just not happening in my head.
I don't see a world in which JJ gets past 8 because then at that point, Denver, who's the most desperate, actually would have the resources to get to 8. So I think 8's the absolute floor for JJ.
Okay. I just found a special on FanDuel that's very tempting.
All right.
There's 2 really tempting ones. Okay. One is, which I already kind of bet this, so I'm just going to throw this out because I'm not going to take it for the draft. But Rome Odunze's second wide receiver drafted and Penix drafted before Nix at plus 390. That's not even that good of odds.
Wait, hold on. Repeat that. Odunze over Neighbors.
Odunze second wide receiver, and then Penix before Nix.
That's not even that weird. It's just the Giants need to. I feel like those are really good odds at plus 390.
You think?
It's not that weird. It's like you're getting the assumption that I'm making here is that Penix is going to go ahead of Nix. So let's call that one a lock-ish. It should be like minus 200 or something. So then all you're doing is betting wide receiver 2, Rome Odunze at plus 390, and the number on the board right now is like, what, 250, 275? So you're getting an extra $100 for free, basically.
Yeah. It's plus 300 just to go to the Giants. And then, I don't know, Nix makes me nervous because I could see Peyton just kind of being like, let's just take him now.
Yeah, you have to dodge one bullet, which I don't know.
Peyton's a pretty big bullet, if we're going to be completely honest. That's like a really big bullet.
Maybe I'm underestimating how big of a bullet that is.
I kind of like this one, and it feeds into my anti-Brock Bowers to the Jets movement that I've been pushing so hard that I already know I'm going to get fucking destroyed when they take Brock Bowers. Like to the point where I'm like, I might need to start hedging like a little bit because I think I might have gone a little bit too hard on it. New York Giants and New York Jets to both draft a wide receiver with their first pick at plus 600. Kind of like that.
I think that's incredibly reasonable for that to happen.
I love that. That is going to be my next one here in the draft. What is your final one?
All right. Let's go something that we haven't talked about at all. Oh, you know what? Fuck. I have two good ones. I don't know what
You
to
can
say.
say them both.
Okay. My official play is going to be the Seattle Seahawks to draft a cornerback first with their first pick, plus 1,500.
I like that.
I think there's a. I know that they took a cornerback last year, but Mike McDonald needs a guy like Cooper DeJean, and I think that fit makes a lot of sense. And I think that Seattle is going to trade back from 16 to 22 with Philadelphia. All right, this is like a okay. Now I'm getting stupid, but all right.
No, it's fun. That's why they have the odds. It's fun. Okay. We're having fun.
Here's a double bet for everybody. Philadelphia and Seattle trade 16 for 22. Philadelphia comes up for an offensive lineman. I think it might be a Marius Mims. That's plus 200 right now for Philly's first pick to be offensive line. So I love that. Seattle trades to 22, gets Cooper DeJean at 22, cornerback first plus 1,500. Boom. I made everybody money, hopefully.
Those are good odds. Do you think there's any way, and this is where my mind goes, and that's why this is just like long shot type stuff. Is there any way that Seattle takes a quarterback? Like any way at all?
Yeah.
Like what
I don't
if
think
they
it's unrealistic. Look, they hired the Washington OC, Grubbs. So very familiar. Would not be surprised at all. Gino doesn't have that much guaranteed money left after this year. They did just trade a third-round pick for Sam Howell. So
I forgot he's there. Gross.
Yeah. So do you want to invest a third-round pick and a first-round pick?
We got some news on the air. Higgins and Hendrickson have requested trades.
Oh, Trey Hendrickson did. Huh.
And Higgins. I like that. That makes draft night more fun.
Huh. The Hendrickson one is interesting. He's supposed to make $15 million.
What's going on, you think? That's very bizarre.
I don't know. Mike Brown's being cheap.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. That makes me want to stay away from all the Bengals props, though. I'd have no idea what they want to do at 18 now.
I don't think they know. And I think they should probably just take O-line, but who knows if they're going to end up doing that. I'm trying to look at one more of these FanDuel props here. I've given out already. I have a ticket on Mitchell to be the first defensive player drafted. Still don't mind that ticket that I have on him, 14-1, whatever it is. I'm not going to do it, but the 50-1 on JJ to be a second round pick is obviously tempting me a little bit. They didn't need to make it 50-1. What?
The Will Levis bet.
Someone's got to be a sad puppy on draft night. And I don't think Bo Nix can be a sad puppy. Like, he doesn't give sad puppy.
Oh, man. JJ slipping to the second round would be an all-time.
Hysterical.
Yeah, it would be all-time. I feel like Jim Harbaugh would trade in to the end of round one just to prevent that from happening and then trade him afterwards just so he doesn't feel bad.
He 100% would. How early do you think the Chargers will draft a running back? Like, do you think second is off the table?
I bet on Blake Corum under 90.5, I think, at some point. Yeah, under 90.5 because they have like the 76th pick and I thought that they would draft him there. I don't think that they would take Corum in the second round. I think it's a third round pick.
Yeah, that seems like a very low hanging fruit. Last one I'll run by you before I make my final pick. I'm also wasting time because now I'm getting very distracted by some of these. Xavier Worthy to be drafted by the Bills or the Chiefs?
What are the odds on that?
Plus 390.
I think there's a chance he goes earlier.
You do?
Yeah. And I did not think this until 3 days ago.
I was gonna say,
But
I feel like this is a new take. You're switching up on me
yeah,
now.
I think that there's a chance that he has outs at 15 to the Colts, 19 to the Rams. Um, I could see someone else trading up for him. I think he'd go to the Dolphins at 21. I'm not sure that he's going to make it to either of those two teams. So no, I don't think I would do that bet.
Okay, fine. They really hang some
That was such
really
a that was such a sassy fine.
fine. Because I didn't really love it either. And I'm being distracted now by things like Frank Gore Jr. to be drafted by the San Francisco 49ers. Because it's like I just see that happening. Like they're a corny organization like that.
What if they draft both Gore and Christian's brother, Luke?
There's a lot of family members in this draft. Like it's the list is very, very long. And a couple of them have to end up going to the team. We saw it happen with the Steelers last year. It happens all the time.
And one of them will definitely happen.
For plus 380.
Sorry, you cut out a little bit there. What
Did
do you
I
like
cut
at
out a little
380?
bit?
Yeah.
I'm going to take Frank Gore to go to the San Francisco.
All right. Are we
I'm
doing
trying
one
to
more?
find what the odds are on the Bengals to take a wide receiver right now, but I'm sure they probably ripped it.
I can probably find it real quick. I'll give out one more just on the
Okay.
way out. Marshawn Lloyd, running back 1, plus
Yes.
850. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I already bet that. I love that a lot. What was the other one that I was going to say? I gave it out last show. I don't hate Brock Bowers to be drafted by the Chargers either at 10 to 1. I think you're getting a pretty good number there.
What'd you want? You wanted the Bengals
Yeah.
wide receiver, first one, plus 700 at BetMGM right now.
Okay. I'm going to change my Frank Gore one to that.
All right.
And then last thing, and they'll let you get out of here, or you can spitfire all your probably crazy bets that you have. Brian Thomas Jr. Do you know more about this injury? Because I feel like I live under a rock. It seems like way more serious than everyone's like acting like.
Yeah, at first I'd heard that it was a labrum, but
Yeah.
now it seems like it might be something more serious than that, or a lot of extensive damage to it. Doesn't sound like it's something that would keep him out of playing this season, but I had heard like 6 or 7 teams have medical red flag on him, aka like off the board. So I don't know. His numbers moved from 16 and a half, 17 and a half, now it's at like 19 and a half. So
Okay.
it's an interesting number, by the way, 19 and a half, because your Steelers is right there. And the Bengals are right there. So I don't know. I'm trying to stay away from Brian Thomas Jr.'s. All the mocks that I've seen lately have him going like late 20s usually. So
yeah, I
I'm
got
kind
it
of out
at
on that market.
17 and a half. Sneakily, I took the over on that. And then now it's at 19 and a half. And I wouldn't touch it. I was saying if it gets to like 21 and a half, I probably would look to take the under maybe. Because he's still, I mean, it's weird how they're saying it like some teams are aware of it, which obviously everyone's fucking aware of it if some teams are aware of it and they're talking about it. Like he did the bench press, he did the like he did everything at the combine. But I heard one person talking, and again, this is all smoke. I don't know what is accurate, what's not, especially this week. They were saying something like 4 to 6 months for a full recovery. Obviously, times are different now, but like that's a long time to take a guy in the top 20.
Yeah, that's a long time. I'm surprised by that.
I hate that. What other bets do you want to throw out here?
Trying to think of any other Lod Chucks that I'm like absolutely in love with this second.
I know. I'm looking too to find something.
I don't have any like big ones, like the ones that I would consider. Like if the draft got a little weird, Joe Alt over 7.5 plus 305, I think is like an option. It's certainly within the realm of possibilities. I haven't pulled the trigger yet just because he has outs at 5 and 7, I think. So not really going there. Tennessee to draft a wide receiver first, plus 700 or plus 300.
I like
if
that.
Alt's off the board already, I think that's interesting.
I don't think edge is totally out of the question for them either. Like I could literally see them going a defensive player, and I wouldn't be like super shocked.
For Tennessee, I would be pretty surprised.
I think for Tennessee to take a wide receiver, it'd have to be like Neighbors falling. Like I don't see them taking Rome.
I could see them taking Rome just because,
Okay.
like, one of the comps for Rome has been DeAndre Hopkins, who obviously they have in the
Mhm.
building, and he's getting older. Like, it's a true
Yeah.
one-to-one replacement. Um, so I could see them doing it. I think their preference would probably be Neighbors. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they took Odunze.
I have to decide how else I want to bet the first defensive player selected because I am standing my fucking ground about Dallas Turner and I'm not backing down. I might back down on the Brock Bowers thing a little bit tomorrow, but I'm not backing down on Dallas Turner.
Where do you think he goes?
I don't know where he ends up, to be honest. I just know that I don't think Atlanta's taking him. And if they do, I think they've traded out of that spot.
I completely agree with you. I don't think there's a chance that Turner goes 8 to Atlanta as currently constructed or mocked.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially with Latu's like health stuff kind of passing, and then you've got the connection with the defensive coordinator. And Atlanta's not off the table to take a wide receiver because they could very much be in the market to take Rome.
I totally see that. Now, I think that Terry Fontenot would probably get raked over the coals a little bit for that, but like their wide receiver two is Darnell Mooney. And Odunze would come in and be their wide receiver one, I think. I think he's probably better than London. So if you're trying to create a gauntlet around Kirk Cousins, the guy you're paying $45 million a year, totally get it.
Yeah. Last team, because I honestly, if there's one team I have paid zero attention to, it's the Detroit Lions. Do you have any leans on what you think they're going to do?
Yeah, I have. I had heard today that they're looking to trade up, but I feel like every team is looking to trade up or trade down at this point in the draft. Like everybody's making calls, so don't buy into it too much. Um, I I work under the general assumption that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell don't do things like normal human beings, for better or worse.
Well, yeah, we
So
saw that last year in the draft.
exactly, I've seen enough press conferences with them too. They're wired a little bit differently. Good, it's working for them. It's just they're a little
It's great.
different. So
Yeah.
I think that everybody expects them probably to come away from this draft with a cornerback or maybe an offensive lineman. Would it be that weird if they drafted a wide receiver?
I don't think so. And it's plus 500. They did just pay Amon Ra.
Yeah, which makes it even more weird, which makes it even more perfect for them.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And like, is like D line totally off the table? I don't know. I don't know.
No, I think that's totally like Darius Robinson or
Yeah.
Johnny Newton to them makes a lot of sense too. I could see that easily. I don't know why I said O line before. I meant to say D line. That would
Yeah.
be up there with cornerback. It's like a favorite.
Yeah. Plus 200 for D line for Detroit. I actually think I really like that.
Yeah, that's probably a really good fair number. It's just like that would be a very sane pick for these two wild human beings.
Yeah.
So I want to play like the fireworks with the Lions. Not for a lot of money, but I think the fireworks would be the receivers.
Yeah. I love that. I think I'm going to put a little sprinkle in. Any last bets you want to get out?
I think that we've gone through all the long shots I could possibly think of. I got a lot of big favorites that I would give out to people, but that's not the game we're playing right now.
No. I did end up, I know Newton, you were not sure if he was going to be a first round pick. I ended up taking his under 31.5 because it's a better number than taking him to be a first round pick right now.
Okay.
I
don't hate that.
You're almost
no, I don't hate that.
That one.
I don't hate that.
All right. Any last drafts? Any last props before we get out of here?
No.
I like Penix over 32.5 at plus 2.
Oh, you don't think he's going to be a first round pick?
I think he might be the one that falls.
God, that would be spicy, especially after all the talk from every media member.
spicy, but is it spicy?
No, it's not spicy, but like the coverage of it would be really spicy, and I don't hate that because he went to Washington.
And I don't hate it because he went to Washington either. And I like Penix. Like, I would not be mad if the Giants were to draft him. I just don't want to draft, like I've said a million times, I will vomit in my mouth. Actually, I will just project a vomit. If we take Penix at 6, who is older, you can go back. I've said before, if you want to go down a rabbit hole, go look at how successful 24-year-olds and up have been that are drafted in the first round, because a lot of them, not household names, like literally names that you've never heard of for your average fan. I could see him slipping out. Like, there's just a lot of talent in this first round. I think the edge class is a little bit deeper than people realize. You've got the O-line class, wide receiver, and then the other quarterbacks. So is it crazy? He could sneak in, though, to like maybe it's the 32nd. Like, he could sneak into that back end just for the contract wise.
I wouldn't be worried about 32 just
Yeah,
because the team that's going to turn in is going to be the Raiders, and Kansas City's not trading them. 31, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. The Jets have the last pick in the draft. Any lean after knowing that?
Mr. Irrelevant.
I still like running back. I'm telling you right now, I'm still on it.
That's funny because I hadn't thought about it for a second, and running back was the first thing that popped in my head. So take that for what it's worth.
That's the pick. All right.
All right.
We will get out of here. I am so excited for tomorrow. Appreciate everyone tuning in for the second time today. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good things. Jason, you're the best. We'll have to do a recap and see how we did.
All right. Can't wait. See you next week.
See you guys.